Welcome to The Pulse with Lauren Bango, a DLL podcast series. This is your place for tips, trends, and insights into the world of healthcare finance. Now, here's Lauren.
Welcome back. I am joined today by Rob Abelman, who is a commercial leader in our commercial finance team. Rob, thank you so much for being here.
Happy to be here and looking forward to it.
I am too. Let's first dive into an introduction and then dive into exactly what commercial finance is.
So, like you said, my name is Rob Abelman. I have been with DLL for 28 years.
No.
So, yeah, if I look back, I go, what happened?
You joined when you were 10.
Yeah, no, not quite. A little older than that. But, yeah, it's been a long ride here. I started off in the healthcare business unit. Awesome. And was there before there was even a business unit. I was a program manager.
It's a good place to be.
To me, that's where you learn the business. You learn every piece of the business, and you learn what a vendor wants, how to solve problems. It's a great place.
And so how'd that transition to what you do today?
So I was in program management for a long time in the business unit. And then I went down to, we have a joint venture with Phillips Medical Capital. I was a commercial lead down there for a number of years, longer than I want to say. And about 2016, I got a tap on the shoulder, a conversation with some people I know about taking commercial finance, and I'll explain what commercial finance is in a little bit, and expanding it and growing it within DLL. And I was, at that point, the timing was good. I'd been in a place for a long time, and I, was looking for something new, and having the opportunity to be with something I really didn't know anything about was a challenge that I was looking forward to. So I joined in 2017. Didn't really have a role right away. Things shifted around, and here I am now as the global head of program management for CF.
Which is pretty awesome.
So, and now it's 7 years later. Crazy.
And it's growing by leaps and bounds. So let's talk a little bit about what it is.
So most people will not understand commercial finance. The words itself could mean anything. Some people think it's leasing. In DLL, commercial finance means inventory financing. And that's the key piece. A lot different than what people call leasing or financing, end user financing. We don't touch the end user. Our customers are dealers or distributors in the channel that need financing in the channel before it gets to the customer.
Interesting.
So think of, for simplicity, and to start, think of a car dealer. Car dealership offers leasing. It's consumer, but it's still leasing, right? Or they sell a vehicle. But they have a lot full of cars. They're not buying all of those cars and paying Ford or paying Chevy or whoever. They have them on an inventory finance plan, and they pay them on a monthly basis. And it's a cash flow play.
Awesome. And then they have the inventory, they can go sell it to their end user, and then obviously they can pay off their...
Right. Now, that's at a high level for heavy equipment, or what we call, hard assets. But for assets that go through the system quickly, and a dealer or distributor may not have that asset very long, it's a different product. It's maybe a 30, 60, 90-day term where it's just like extended terms. So you're giving the dealer in the channel an additional 90 days to pay for it. And that allows the OEM to, one, push more product through, which is a big thing. That's the number one reason why OEMs or big distributors will offer the product.
That's so smart. So we've talked about, how this benefits. I mean, right there, more product. But what are some of the other benefits that, our healthcare partners could see?
So allowing them to buy more. A lot of times a healthcare partner has open account with the OEM. And they'll buy a couple $100,000 and it'll go on net terms and they'll pay them in 30 days. The OEMs, in an effort to sell more, will say, all right, well, we'll keep you open account, but how about having a line with DLL? So we can maybe give them a line equivalent to their open net terms, and now they have double the purchasing power. Right?
Smart.
Right? So that's one. So the ability to sell more product into the channel. The other thing some of the OEMs do is they look at it as a way to offload credit risk.
Oh.
Because now we're stepping in as the intermediary between the dealer and the OEM, and we're providing the loan to the dealer. We're taking the credit risk. The OEM gets their money from us and doesn't really have to worry about the credit risk because of our
That's
standing.
what we're taking.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, and that must reduce their DSO as well.
Next on my list.
Hey, look at me!
So you're already catching up. So to think that a lot of the dealers, when they buy from OEMs, pay right at 30 days is pretty optimistic.
I was going to say that's crazy
right?
talk.
They drag them out.
Yeah.
They drag them out because it's a cash flow play. They want to hang on as long as they can. This eliminates that DSO problem for the OEM. I mean, some OEMs will pay them at day one. Some OEMs are okay with us paying them day 30 of an outstanding invoice.
Because they know they're getting it.
So they know they're getting it, and that there's this pricing and a structure issue that you have to work through, but there's various ways to structure it so that it meets the needs of the OEM and giving the terms that a dealer would need.
That's awesome.
But one more thing they like to do too, what the OEMs, it offloads a number of administrative issues. Collection, invoicing, all of those items that an OEM looks at and they're like, all right, we have 3 people or 4 people and their time, it's time consuming, it's inefficient. That offloads that issue to us.
That's great. That is awesome. So who is the right audience? So I know a couple of partners that use it, but who?
So in healthcare, there's a number of different target markets. So you have everywhere starting with consumables. Think about the healthcare industry in the U.S. Billions of dollars flow from manufacturers of supplies through a distributor and dealer network to the end user. That market alone is untapped.
Wow.
And we really haven't done a good job, and we need to do a better job of tapping that market. So that's one. That's the perfect, give them 60 days, 90 days to pay, longer than what a dealer or distributor normally gets from the OEM. Ultrasound, radiology equipment, patient monitoring equipment, furniture in hospitals. Think of everything that a hospital or a physician buys. Not all of it is sold direct, right? Some of it is sold through the dealer network. So it's fair game for anything.
Yeah, no, and those dealer networks in healthcare are huge. They're huge. So quick question, because I just thought of this. When you give extended terms, who's paying that interest?
So typically the OEM will subsidize it.
Okay.
They look at it as a marketing. It's a marketing tool to drive more sales.
Sure.
There are programs, depending on the assets, where they will pay it for a certain number of days to allow the dealer to get whatever they're acquiring and have a subsidy period, and then the dealer or the distributor that can then pay for it.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. So tell me, we've talked about the areas it's growing. And you talked about ultrasound and patient monitoring. We talked about beds and lights and booms. Where are you seeing the trends?
So, as interest rates increase, people are always looking for alternatives. So we do a lot in the dental market. And you go, dental market?
I was just about to say that.
Why would you? What are you financing in the dental market? Well, your initial thought is probably equipment. Well, we can do equipment, but we also do implants. So think about anything that a dentist, a doctor, an optometrist has in inventory that he uses to give to a patient. That is inventory. So I'm looking at you. You got glasses on.
I was going to say frames.
Right? So it's a perfect market. The optometrists, some of them are individually owned, some of them are chains. And I'm guessing the smaller whether if it's a single optometrist or a big vision chain, the smaller you get, there's probably more pressure on them from a cash flow perspective.
Yeah.
Perfect market. So that's a great area. And with rates increasing, it's a perfect play.
So that's interesting. So if we have a partner who's interested in offering this to their customers, what do they do?
So pretty simple. Reach out to your program manager. Tell them you heard this great podcast and that it's something that interests you. Either one of the benefits may have struck you as something that would work, either reducing DSO or more sales. Reach out to your program manager and tell them you're interested in learning more and exploring the commercial finance product.
That's awesome.
They will hook us up. They will hook you up with the appropriate people within CF to make it happen.
That's great. Yes, please definitely reach out. Would love to have that conversation. Rob, in terms of the transactions and how they differ between, a CF transaction versus a typical lease, and I know it's very different. Can you help describe that?
Yeah, the big difference, and one of the things that's so important and a little nugget of CF is it's not a transactional business. So the big difference in leasing business, everything is transactional. You're doing a deal, you're selling equipment, and there's a lot of focus on that. So one of the things about the commercial finance product is getting it set up the right way the first time. Once you do that, the transactions flow automatically.
So let me see if I understand that correctly. So it's more like a line of credit, if you will.
Exactly.
So then you're going to come in, we're going to figure out what that line needs to be.
Correct.
I bet that it's always wonderful then to see that line get bigger because that means it's working.
So one of our biggest, our portfolio and our existing customers all start out as smaller customers, and over the years, the lines grow, they get used to using it, they grow as a business, and they see us as a tool that helps fund their business.
That's awesome.
You hit on something that's really important, the revolving nature of it. And that's the difference than a retail lease product. You set a line of credit for the customer, that line is in place as they use it and then pay it down, it revolves, right? And they open up new credit. So we have an online system at the fingertips of an OEM. They can go in and see how much customers have available. And the dealers and distributors, when they use the product, they go onto the system and they use the system to finance their invoices. So everything is at their fingertips online.
That's great. That's awesome. And I love the digital nature of it. At the end of every podcast, I ask my guests for a nugget to share. Can be anything you want to share, but can you leave us with one nugget, something that you suggest that we do?
So do not wait for a hot opportunity with a customer or the idea of, hey, we have a big deal or a big purchase coming and we need this product, or we have a quarter end coming and we need to do this quick. This is something that takes some time to get set up. There's processing issues that have to be worked through for the OEM. There is credit approval, there is documentation, there is setup on the system. If there is a big purchase or a deal happening that's pressuring that, it's bound to go bad because we want to get the process right. Once the process is right, the deals flow with practically no touch.
I was going to say, it sounds it's pretty simple once it's set up correctly.
And that's the big difference. That is the big difference between a retail product, because a retail product is a very transactional product. All about the individual deal, getting the deal done. Ours is about getting the process in place.
Awesome. So what I'm hearing is if this spoke to you, reach out and let's explore.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you doing this.
You're welcome. Thanks, Laura.
Thank you for listening to The Pulse with Lauren Bango, a DLL podcast series. The opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the participants. Nothing herein should be construed as legal, tax, accounting, or investment advice. Join us again for the next edition of The Pulse. And thanks again for listening.